Good morning and welcome to Camp Arowana's Monday Morning Devo. Years ago, when I was working as a bus aide on special education school buses, I was sitting across the aisle from a kiddo on the bus as the bus was heading up the freeway one day. This particular kid was a cliche example of a person with oppositional defiant disorder, and so was often exasperating to deal with. Because I was the authority figure on the bus, every single thing I did was wrong. I was ruining his life, and it was a cause for an argument, every single thing. You had to pick your battles, and you had to walk away and not engage often, even if he was telling you that the sky was green. You were not going to win or be right, and any attempt would just inflame the situation. Which is what made this one day in particular such an amazing moment that has stuck with me ever since. Of course, oftentimes, we learn more from teaching than the students. So that may be the case with this day, and I guess I'm okay if I'm the only one who this conversation lesson stuck with. It was early morning and the bus was fairly quiet. Most of the kids were probably sleeping or playing their games on their devices. Out of the blue, this kid, Larry, asks me, "Why do roads have lines on them?" I explained to him that the lines help people get where they needed to go safely. They give us directions on which way to go or not to go. They keep us in the correct lanes so that we don't crash into each other or something else. We chatted for a few moments about the importance of lines, boundaries, rules, so that people can stay safe and stay on track, and how chaos would rule and people would be hurt and lost if we didn't have them. And for once, he got it, and there was no argument. It was an amazing moment. Now, the lines on the road and the structure and organization of how the highway system works is basically man-made. But the lines that mark the orbits of the galaxies, the stars, and the planets, these lines are orchestrated by the Creator God himself. And without those safe lines, or lanes, or movement, can you imagine the chaos the universe would be in if every planetoid or cosmic body just moved about wherever it wanted? Talk about chaos. We actually see God's orderly design all over creation. Even in the days of creation themselves, the order in which things were created reflect the need for organization. You can't have any living things until there's air. You can't have fish before water. You can't have plants without the earth. You can't have any of it without light. Animals and plants follow the path of the seasons. Some are nocturnal, others are not. Some migrate and some do not. In creation itself, God shows us that orderliness is a part of his character, that order and boundaries are a part of the fabric of creation. I finally got around to watching the documentary called The Last Dance, which is about Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls teams of the 1990s. At one point in the series, Michael Jordan is asked about the culture of the team when he first arrived as a young rookie, specifically the reputation the team had for partying, drinking, and doing drugs. Michael tells the story about a road trip and how he went into a hotel room where a bunch of the guys were already partying. There were girls, drugs, booze there. He spent a couple moments and then hightailed it out of there. Michael Jordan knew that his success depended upon not getting caught up in that scene. He knew that even if he wasn't doing any of those things, being in the same room when the coaches or authorities arrived would mean that he would be in trouble as well. He knew that he had to draw a line, a boundary for himself to maintain his integrity and to keep himself safe and on track. No doubt for a young man in his very early 20s, he would have been very tempted to join in, to succumb to the peer pressure. He was likely made fun of, maybe mocked, judged for setting a higher standard for himself. But Michael Jordan knew that to be the man he wanted to be, he needed to stick to the life and the standards that he had set and chosen for himself. To some people, it seems like the Bible is just a bunch of rules, that God is all about coming down and judging us if we don't live a certain way. And they judge followers of Jesus for striving for such a life and for oftentimes, messing up. The thing is, God has laid out those boundaries, those lines, those rules for us in order to keep us safe and healthy. God's desire is for our best because God loves us, and because he is God, he knows what is best for us. In the book of Leviticus, God tells the people to be holy because he is holy, and the Apostle Peter repeats these instructions in 1 Peter 1. God calls us to be a holy people, following in God's example. Not because God is about a bunch of rules, but because God loves us and knows what is best for us. God has orchestrated the whole universe to operate in an orderly way, to follow all sorts of natural laws, and God has laid out examples for us humans to live safer and healthier lives by following what is best for us as well. Who am I to cross lanes set in place by the maker of the stars themselves? I am just my finite self. Certainly, God knows best.